Just keep it the way it is. You look retarded and it's funny.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Spirits and Ghost Stories. I'm your host, Carly Bird.
And I'm Thomas Aarons.
And this is the first week of Halloween.
First week of October.
And my face jiggles. It folds. I think that's it.
You have an overbite with your teeth. Your bottom jaw sticks out like a little bulldog or something. Literally.
Which represents my brain right now. Right there? Is that better?
Yeah, you still have, it's an underbite actually. You have an underbite. Now you have an overbite.
I'm dyslexic, so.
Just keep it the way it is. You look retarded and it's funny.
That is gonna be cut for a fucking name. Even overbite, you look retarded. I love you. We made it to Halloween. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. These
Tonight?
fumes are getting to me though.
These things are brand new. We literally just put them on our face, and I wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest.
Oh my gosh, look. When I open my mouth, my beak moves. This
Yes.
one's way better than yours. Way better.
Carly, what are we drinking tonight?
Tonight, we are drinking Jack's Hard Cider, peach flavored.
Which, believe it or not, this is a fan favorite. We actually went to this distillery, believe it or not.
I know we did. Believe it or not. I remember.
You gonna talk about it, or you want me to?
So we went to it, and it
So we went there. The end.
near Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and we went to a cute little brewery, and it's dog friendly, even though it's all indoors, and it actually is connected in that location. You all right?
Yeah,
You all right
just
there?
drank some of my
That
latex.
location, it looks as though. Oh god, itchy nose. Hold on. It looks as though it's like at like a little strip mall type location, and so like it's all indoor. There's no like outdoor portion of it, and it was fun. It looked like they have events stuff scheduled, so if you live around there, you should totally check it out.
And it's really fun because like that's one of the first companies, believe it or not, that we didn't know about, but we like brought on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be mistaken, but didn't they like tag us in their Instagram post? Like, oh yeah, like these people did it. It was one of the cider companies that we talked to.
They shared our story that we posted
the
with
point is,
their
like,
cider,
they
which
shared it.
gave us a little bit of publicity there, which was really nice.
Yeah, so it's like it's so cool, and
because they're active online and stuff.
Yes, exactly. And the fact is, they allow dogs, and for us, that's a must.
That's important.
Especially with us, because we have a dog.
Do we?
Do tell.
What?
You can't just like, do we have a dog?
No,
like,
I'm just using sarcasm.
which means what?
We have a dog, yes. His name
Oh, I
is
thought you
Jojo.
meant, like,
Everybody
he's not-
knows. He said, we have a dog.
I thought you meant like he's not a dog. He's like a cat or whatever. My
No.
point was,
He's a child.
we have a dog who can detect ghosts.
Yep.
Is where I was going before you cut me off.
Yep.
Because when we went to him a haunted attraction last year, he knew the building that was haunted.
We didn't go to a haunted attraction. We went to a winery.
Yes, which
that
had a haunted
was
attraction.
Haunted, and he knew he could
Do not get married.
He could hear something or sense something. And
Because
he
the
was
person
like,
told us to go to the house.
right.
And he was like, nope.
Yep. Didn't want to be near it.
And he doesn't, like, guys, he's a dog that if a serial killer, this is topical, if Jeffrey Dahmer broke into our house, he would not bark.
No. Jojo
He's-
would be like, hey, friend.
Yeah, he's very chill.
How's it going? His
He
little tail would
doesn't
go
know how to bark.
flump,
Every
flump.
time he
He wouldn't even
barks-
get up.
Yeah. And he barks so little. When he barks, I get like, okay, what's going on, buddy?
Right.
Did
Something's
you
wrong.
just realize this? You could do this? Like, woof. Now, he barks at really retarded things. Like, example, like, you know, bark at the AC unit going on. Like, he barks at retarded stuff. But it's still a nerve-wracking when he barks. It's like, okay, you chose to do something that I don't know your brain knows how to do. And so, like, these, like, two little synapses in his brain, like, connect, like, oh, I need to do something. Roof.
Yeah.
And that's what he does. But he did this to this house. And I was like, oh, that's, like, fucking eerie.
It's crazy. It took me a while to get him to calm down, too.
Because a lot of our stories, it's like the animals always detect shit first before like stuff happens. And
Right.
like when our little dog, like the two little synapses in his brain like connect, and he's like, oh,
Alert!
I need to protect Carly.
Prepare yourselves for the tale of Eyes of the Devil.
Oh.
Ooh.
The police were called to a domestic violence report and a poor... Now you know what it's like to be me,
No.
unmedicated.
I'm medicated.
Yep.
Guys. Spoilers.
Okay, focus.
Sorry.
The police were called to a domestic violence report in a poor inner city area of America known for high amounts of crime, prostitution, human trafficking, and drug-related violence. Where do you think that was?
Detroit.
I was thinking Chicago. Neighbors in a residential complex initially phoned in the call as they heard screaming and banging. The police arrived on the scene and found 7 people, mostly from the families who lived in the complex, out on the grass praying silently. The officers heard the people mumbling under their breath as though they didn't want to disturb someone. When the officers asked what they were doing, one answered, "Praying for our souls." This unsettled the officers and immediately set the tone for what was to come next. Heading into the apartment, they were directed to go to a room where a member of the family was apparently possessed. Skeptical and thinking this was probably a drug-related incident, they went to assess the situation. Reaching the door, they realized there were multiple voices in the room, though they were advised there was only one man, screaming at one another in languages neither of the officers recognized. Sensing the situation was out of their expertise, the lead officer called for backup and EMTs for a potentially serious psychological incident. While waiting for backup to arrive, the officers questioned the family about the man, basically biding their time so they didn't have to go in the room with this psychopath.
Yeah.
Apparently, he'd been acting oddly for weeks, becoming anxious and agitated over minuscule things, and progressively more haggard and pale, as if he was ill. About half an hour before the police arrived, he started screaming he was going to eat his family and would be dragged back to hell because he'd broken the agreement. Next, he started begging the Virgin Mary to save him, and then began foaming at the mouth and burning himself with holy candles. Where did they get holy candles? The family managed to stop him and move him to another room, but he'd become more violent to the point where they couldn't control him anymore. A family member said that they'd given up when he'd climbed up the walls onto the ceiling. As the family...
I love, by the way, how they gave up once he was on the ceiling.
Yep.
Minus all this other stuff. I don't know if you guys can tell for our podcast listeners that I have adjusted my jaw.
It looks way better now.
Really?
Yeah.
So the point is, what was I saying? Oh, I love how this family was so dedicated to we're gonna do this, and then he said he's gonna eat us, and then he's gonna summon Baphomet, and he's gonna do this, and then he climbed on the walls.
Then he climbed on the walls.
I picture a woman in Loudoun County talking to another woman in Loudoun County at a Starbucks and be like, "We tried everything, but then once he was on the walls, we were done. Guess what? We're done. Listen, we will handle him eating our whole family. We will handle him summoning the devil. But once he's like, I'm gonna climb on the walls, we're out.
I'm out.
We are out.
This is over my expertise.
Yeah. We're done with that stuff now.
I don't know why the Loudoun County mom has an accent from the boonies.
Because some people come from this place of a wild country. No more wild than Australia. West Virginia. Wild and wonderful.
Alright, back to our story. The family managed to stop him, move into another room, but he became more violent. They gave up after he started climbing the walls. As the family retold the story, the man continued to scream so piercingly in unknown languages the walls were shaking. All of the officers involved in the incident were highly experienced, long-time members of the force, but many of the officers were starting to come unglued. One officer even passed a rosary through his fingers to comfort himself, while the rest managed to keep a lid on their fears. When the EMTs and backup arrived, they headed upstairs with the officers to the man's room. They tried the door, but the man locked himself inside, forcing the officers to break down the door. They discovered the room completely upturned, almost everything knocked over, and covered in bloody foam from the man's mouth. There was one desk lamp still on and working, casting shadows of strange shapes that seemed to transform when eyed. After the officers were sure no one else was in the room, the EMTs moved in to try and calm the man down. He was huddled in the corner of the room, hunched up in a squat like an animal over a fresh kill. He was rambling under his breath to an invisible figure.
I love how that is when they were like, hey, listen, let's call the EMTs. Like, if there's a person huddled in the side of the corner going,
They called the EMTs before they knew what he looked
yes,
like.
they called the EMTs before.
But you mean they sent the EMTs like
but
in
it's
the
like,
room first?
Because I feel like it's like, hold up, now go.
It's like, hold up. Who can we afford to lose first?
EMTs. Go.
That's the feel I'm getting to. One of the medics said his name, and his head picked up, but in the way like a dog's head would. Just a movement of the head and a neck, with no self-consciousness of his movements.
So, guys, pause. If this was Chojo, the head wouldn't pick up. It'd be like, eyes open.
His eyes would look.
Side eyes.
That's it. He'd be like this.
Yeah. He would literally, if he could, he would lay his head wouldn't move, and his eyes would be like,
Yep.
Like, that is the minimal effort I will give you.
Yep. That's about it. He's a lazy boy.
Jojo, if you're listening, we still love you. You smile through your beak.
I lost my place, and it's all your fault. Okay.
Oi.
A couple of the officers put their hands... Stop saying oi. It's like the third time tonight.
It fucks her up.
A couple of the officers put their hands onto their guns at that point. Natural reactions sensing an imminent threat. Disturbed by this, but still trying to remain calm, the medic asked the man how he was feeling. Yes, sir.
Okay, I love the fact that it's like, in their minds, there's no demon yet, right? And the fact is, this could be a meth head. And they're like, okay, a meth head in the corner. Let's say he's shirtless, he looks like Gollum for Lord of the Rings. And he's like sitting there like, precious.
Right.
And you're like, gotta unclick these guns here, boys.
Yeah.
It's like, that is so probably not against the code of the officer club. It's just so fucked up. The fact that, guys, you see that meth head over there? Draw your guns. We don't know. He could be crazy. Should we talk to him? No.
Well, they were told that he was possessed.
Listen, he could be possessed.
They're starting to believe it now.
He could be possessed or he could be a tweaker. Should we go talk to him, boss? No. We're the EMTs. They're disposable.
Whatever.
Go help him. Go.
The medic asked how the man was feeling. The man smiled and said in Spanish, God himself will not recognize you when I'm done with you.
How many people there actually spoke Spanish? Because I also know from all the kids I deal with, they're probably like, that was words. And they got on their phone, like, translate, Google Translate.
I assume they all knew what he meant.
That's more epic.
At that point, the officers and medics made a unanimous agreement to take the man into custody quickly. But as they were discussing the situation, the man stood up, breathing heavily. From the scratch marks on his body, it was clear he'd been clawing at himself, and his chest was covered in bloody foam from his mouth. Smiling again, he looked at the rosary the officer had hanging around his chest. That trinket won't save you, he said, as he rushed toward them. Despite it being just one man against 6 other people, they had a major fight on their hands. The first officer, the man that got tackled, the man got to tackled him to the ground.
Basically what that means is the first dumbass son of a bitch that got to go tackle this fucker.
Yeah.
Ow.
Tackled him to the ground. As the others jumped in to pile on top and stop him through sheer weight alone, the man fought wildly, scratching, punching, and struggling like a cornered animal, screaming at them all the while. Eventually, they managed to subdue him long enough for one of the medics to prepare a syringe to sedate him. As the medic was doing this, The officer, who was holding the man's arms over his head, made eye contact with the man. The officer began crying out in horror and released his arms, recoiling away from the man like he was truly something disturbing. Can you stop fidgeting? Pay attention to the story.
Fidgeting.
In response, the man stopped struggling, gave a deep belly laugh that made everyone in the room shiver, and said to the officer, "Look closely so you don't forget." The medic managed to get the syringe ready and sedated the man enough for the others to get him into the back stretcher and strap him down before taking him out to the ambulance. The officer who made eye contact with the man was white as a sheet and refused to ride in the ambulance, opting to follow a patrol car behind. Another officer rode in the ambulance with the medics, and as he tells it, he never took his hands off his gun the entire journey. When they got to the hospital, the officer who made eye contact went to the chapel to pray. Later, when one of his fellow officers asked him about what he saw, he said, "His eyes weren't human. I know what I saw. I've never seen anyone with eyes like that. I was looking at the eyes of the devil." And that was the tale. Eyes of the devil.
So, that's a good story. It really is. And I'm more of a mischievous mood. And
Obviously.
I really do think it's like an episode of some comedy where like the doctor is like rushed to the scene, like because there's like this patient, and they open the doors of the ambulance at the hospital, and you see this like EMT like praying on the rosary, and then you see this like cop pointing a gun at the patient like this, and it's like, what the hell are you guys doing? But it's also interesting that these powers transferred from one person to the other. And that makes you really think about like power of the devil. And is that like a deeper meaning of the fact that like evil can like be infectious to anybody?
How did they transfer one person to the other?
By staring at the eyes. The eyes transferred it. Which also gets back to the...
It never transferred in the story.
It did.
What? When?
Because every time they stared at the eyes, they couldn't handle it.
Okay, but it didn't transfer the devil. The devil didn't body jump from that guy that he was possessed to the police officer who saw his devil eyes.
Which it reminds me of a movie. Do you remember the movie? That's right. Indiana Jones, Ark of the Covenant. And that was like a really
Did
big
you just say that's right and I didn't even say anything?
Yeah, because I knew you weren't going to get the answer right.
That's right. Indiana Jones, Ark of the Covenant. Could you please show me some more sass? I'm not getting enough from you tonight.
As your beak quivers. And that leads us to our next segment, which is Scary Things in the News.
Scary Things in the News. I also have one. So we're going to let you tell yours first, and then mine has to do with exorcism to finish up the night.
Oh my gosh.
What?
We had a fuck ton of comments.
Whoa. Whoa. Fat cat. Hey.
So talk to the comments, Carly, while I get it up.
I can't believe you didn't have the comments up the whole time. Hi, Tess. Tess stumbled in on the podcast. Yes, we are live at the moment.
So basically, I'm dying, Tom. Cracking me up. I'm just going to say that
she
you
said
need
fic. She said my phone won't let me swear.
I really appreciate that you have a religious phone, and you being so close to Nevada, I understand that why you have a religious phone, and that makes perfect sense to me. She'll get it. You will not.
I
That's
won't.
perfectly fine.
I won't get it.
There are Mormons in Nevada, which is next to California.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Wait a minute. Is that like that show that I watched about the cult on Netflix?
What fucking show did you watch?
I don't know. It just looks like they were out in the desert. It's the cult show where they had like 14 wives.
No. And by the way, Fat Cat, by the way, which Carly say that, well, that's her name on there, but would you do the honors? Anyway, the point is, like, if you think our audio is bad tonight, that completely makes sense because we are recording on a new device that we have right now. And all the audio that you are hearing is actually coming through my computer right now. That's so I can sync it up in post, and that way it sounds better. This doesn't matter because it won't actually be on the final recording that I do tomorrow while I'm at work. point is, that's why everyone knows. But anyway, it is time for
Scary things of the news. Ba-na-na-na-na-na. Go.
the real ghosts of Lake Mead. So for you individuals that do not know that live on the East Coast, Lake Mead has been reducing in size because of dehydration, climate change. There are multiple reasons for why Lake Mead has gone down. But because Lake Mead has gone down, there have been things that have been unearthed.
Ooh. Like what?
Bodies. You know where Lake Mead is near? Las Vegas.
I was going to say Nevada.
Where's the James River? Where's it near? It's near the state that it's in. Boy, howdy. Yes, Nevada is the state in which Lake Mead is partially in.
Oh, I was right.
God help me, please. I will not divorce her. I promise all of you, I will not divorce my wife.
I'm not good with geography.
So, Nevada and most of the West Coast are dealing with a drought. And one part of the drought is the fact that the lakes are reducing in size. Now, Lake Mead is one of the largest lakes in the United States. And the Hoover Dam, by the way, Miss Burden, if you don't know about that, the Hoover Dam is connected to Lake Mead. And the lake is seeing a huge reduction in size, which means there's a lot of lake that's becoming unearthed to people. And based on this article, it was just a matter of time. Ghost hunters have arrived at Lake Mead. And why not? Just this year, at least 5 sets of human remains, at least 5 sets of human remains have been discovered, and many expect more to be found as water levels continue to drop over the next years. On a warm October night, a group of 4 self-proclaimed paranormal investigators spent several hours wandering the shorelines of the dwindling reservoir looking for signs of afterlife. So basically, and we're going to get into this in the video, because of the lake dwindling down in size, bodies are becoming uncovered. That could be because of like suicides, murders, mafia hits. We don't know. This is the question I ask the audience tonight, right now. If ghosts do become prevalent, and this study says it does, is it because the bodies are now unearthed?
Like they're uncovered, therefore
Yes.
they're now avenging their killer.
Yes. What do you think?
Good question. I would say, depending on how they died, yes.
Do tell, Miss Bird.
Well, I think some bodies have died, have found peace, but maybe not all of them, depending on how they were killed. So if they were
not all bodies,
no, I mean like
that were buried at the bottom of the lake found peace.
Depending on how they
listen. There was one person that committed suicide that was at peace.
Potentially, maybe. Maybe somebody got killed that also...
I'm Ferb from Parks and Rec.
Had
clearly one of the people that got buried.
Maybe they wanted to die, and they faked it, and they were like, no, don't kill me. And then they got shot by the mafia and tossed in the ocean, and they were just like, finally, my end is come to fruition.
Wait, what?
I don't know. So anyway, all I'm saying.
She's homeschooled, by the way, guys, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know,
nasty.
I am, but it's true.
So are you.
Yes, and how am I so much more cultural than you?
Ass face.
It's so insane. We're married. So, based on what you say, not everyone that was buried at the bottom of a lake wanted to do that.
I literally was agreeing and saying that if they were unearthed, they're going to be looking for some kind of...
Only time will tell if those skeletons, those bodies, will ever see the light of day again. But that's why we felt we had to pay a visit to Lake Mead. No one has ever done a true paranormal investigation of this location before, so we're the first team to dive in headfirst into the dark waters of the lake in an attempt to gather some answers to these mysteries. But let me warn you, be prepared. What you're about to see will shock you. I grew up in a haunted house, so I've always had a passion for the paranormal. And I went to film school, dropped out of film school, and I found my passion in ghost hunting. And that's how I got here.
What?
I love how he pushes over. I grew up in a haunted house.
I know. Like, tell us more about that,
That,
bruh.
like-
Colin Bowen, get with it. We
Like,
don't want to hear about
he's
you going
trying-
to film school and quitting.
well, still, like, okay,
We want to know what happened to you.
pause on my life. Listen to me real quick.
Focus.
The fact is, he said, first off, I grew up in a haunted house, but that doesn't matter. Then I dropped out of film school. That doesn't matter. Then I became a ghost hunter. There are two stories I want to hear about. You grew up in a haunted house? Why? Like, I want to hear that. Why did you drop out of film school? Is it because you grew up in a haunted house?
I don't care.
Then you became a ghost hunter. Like, there are like multiple stories that I would like to hear about before this actually happened. So we're going to continue this. It's not like linear.
Doing paranormal investigations full time across the world on YouTube. Well, we.
Whoa.
Yes!
Yes!
My twin and I, and we dealt with all kinds of hauntings and kind of just wanted to bring everything to, I guess, like a reality and show everybody the truth.
What?
If there were people. If there were people that were fucking ghost hunters, it was them. Oh my god.
My twin and I, with our matching
Do
neck
they not
tattoos
look like this is what they would do?
and identical hair, except the left side of one's head is black and the left side of the other one's head is
I
white.
am not against tattoos. My best friend has a tattoo.
Does he?
Not on his fucking eyebrow. One eyebrow! And up to his fucking like throat. And then we all like, guys, listen, for this video, we match.
Hold on. Does that one say wolf? Up there on his head.
And she's like, but Lake Lanier is haunted because of some shit.
The same
Shirt. Those twins are creepy as fuck.
They are creepy.
Yes, Tess, I agree with that. That is fucking like, why would you coordinate that? And why are they are they oh my god.
He
They are
just
twins.
noticed. He just
Shut up!
noticed! He just noticed the guy in the back. Thomas looking at the redhead this whole time.
I was.
Thinking that was the twin, you dingaling.
Truth and, try to gather as much proof as possible.
We had been talking about it for quite some time, and we figured, it's sort of
Okay, we're gonna pause real quick. I love the person in the background, the way their stance is, where it's like, ugh. Like, I'm gonna show how macho I am, and you know how macho I am? I'm gonna have my black hair on the right, whereas he has it on his left. And I noticed that.
unorthodox and kind of outside the box, but maybe we should go down there and give it a shot.
Also,
Thomas, can we please listen to one
No.
sentence before you stop pausing it?
no, because also, I really need to ask this question to the audience. Why do you decide I'm going to put a fucking bolt right here?
Maybe he thinks it looks sexy.
Does it? Please.
I said maybe he
Please,
thinks it does.
could the audience tell me this one question? Why is it a bolt through your fucking, like, right here where your eyes are? This makes sense.
Why?
Because there are multiple cultures in the world that have it in the nose, in the ears. That makes sense. The neck
I think the same cultures
Right
also have
here-
it up here on the eyes.
is like saying, please, could you look at my eyes? Which means, like, just look at your eyes.
You're right. Maybe he's severely insecure about his nose, and he wants people to be directed up to his eyes.
But I'm not looking at his eyes. I'm looking at the fucking knots right next to his eyes.
Well,
Anyway,
gotta
I'm sorry.
get
I'm
people
sorry.
not to look at that nose somehow.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm back.
And see if we can get any answers for some of those people.
We're here finally tonight at Lake Mead. As we've talked about, lots of murders in this area over the years. Experts think that there are hundreds, literally, this is in the news, hundreds of bodies in the lake.
We specifically chose to
area over the years.
What are you doing?
If you have a sibling, and let's say you're identical, why would you literally say, like, I'm identical to this person, so I would like to be more identical to the identical? Their tattoos are on the same fucking side on each of them. The only differentiation thing is that how they dyed their hair. Why?
But okay.
Explain that to me. Why?
Okay, Tommy, I think you're getting stuck
I am.
on the fact that these guys are twins and they also dyed their hair the same and they have multiple tattoos in the same place.
On the same place.
On the same place. So let's get past that
No.
and see what happens.
No, because this is the real ghost story here. Why you were in the tattoo parlor
Yeah.
and you're like, Devin, where should I get this tattoo?
Okay.
Well, mine are on the right. Devin, you need to get them on the right. Why? So we look the same. And you're like, Gerald, we already look the same. Yes, but if we get tattoos on the separate sides of our bodies, we will not look the same anymore.
Maybe
you have
they
to get
don't
them right,
want
Devin.
to look different from each other. They want to look the same.
That is... Then why would you dye your hair on the opposite side?
It's part of their identity.
We will do everything the same, except the hairdo. We will adjust that a little bit.
Okay.
So
like
people
I said, you're
with
obsessing
my
over something.
disability would be like,
You're
that's wrong.
You're obsessing over this, and I need you to get past
I
it.
feel like you're Jess in this situation, and I am.
Schmidt.
Really? I'd be like, all right. Did not think you say him.
Experts think that there are hundreds, literally, this is in the news, hundreds of bodies in the lake.
We specifically chose to the left side of Hemingway Harbor, I believe it was, where the one in the barrel was found. That was kind of our focal point. So once we were watching the wind and whatnot, we picked our time around 9.
Ooh, they were watching the wind.
First off-
because you can see the wind.
I'm going to screenshot that for Seth.
What? What did you do?
Only time will tell of those skeletons, those...
As we were watching the wind and whatnot, we picked our time around 9 p.m. to start. That was when the wind was at its lowest. And we kind of just cruise out there without seeing anything beforehand, without knowing too much information. That way, whatever we do capture has some validity to it. You know, it's not scripted or planned. And then we get all of our cameras and devices set up and start talking.
We basically go into these investigations hoping for the best. What if we don't leave?
Wait a minute. Did Tess just say? She said, check it. One of the twins is a girl.
Does that make it better or worse that they like girl like that?
Whoa. Hold on. Push play. I gotta see this.
Pause. First off, we're going to get you a thing. Did you hear what he said? She said. It said.
He said they're gonna wing it, and they hope for the best.
No.
Okay. What did you want me to hear them say?
We get all of our cameras and devices set up and start talking.
We basically go into these investigations hoping for the best. What if we don't leave?
What if we don't leave?
There, right now, guys, on Netflix is a documentary that a few of you will know. It is a Jeffrey Dahmer one. If I dress like that and I'm out in the darkness looking for ghosts, which means they're dead things, and then I'm like, guys, with my hands crossed, what if we never left here? Gonna look at you differently. Especially depends on what you packed. If you're holding a knife, and be like, guys, see what I'm saying? Like, what if I held a flashlight and I said, what if we don't leave? You think one thing. If I'm holding a knife and I said, guys, listen. What if we don't leave here? That automatically makes you think something different than with that. So the point is, you look at him or her. That's the person. That's psycho.
Put that finger down.
Beforehand, without knowing too.
Okay. So based on what Tess, our favorite listener, said.
Silent Bob chick in the back. Yeah. Hello.
Come on. Push play, Tom.
I'm going to look at this, by the way, because she said to look at this. So, which one's the chick? Which one's the
back.
dude?
The one in the back.
Is the what?
The chick.
So she's the chick?
Yeah.
Why does he have... Is this a he?
I'm assuming.
Okay, I'm just making... It is 2022. I'm trying to be sure that we include everyone. Why does it have buckshot on its cheeks, its nose, and the side of its face?
I don't know. You want a little bit of bling bling.
And then, they're twins, right?
Oh my god. No, Tom. They were just born on the same day at the same time and look exactly alike.
Too much information. That way, whatever we do capture has some validity to it. You know, it's not scripted or planned. And then we get all of our cameras and devices set up and start talking.
We basically go into these investigations hoping for the best. What if we don't leave?
Hey, Tom, do this.
Did you do some horrible things?
No, do this.
It all says, drown. Drown you. I'll drown you. Shoot. Then... Kill! Dude, right there. What if we don't leave, dude? Oh my god.
I think we just go and just ask the questions, you know, and we base what we do next based on the answers. So in the video, there's a moment when Ryan is asking if it can lead, the spirit can lead us to where its body is.
Are you trying to tell us where there's a body right now?
Guys, I will link in the episode description this whole video. Carly, what do you think of this?
I'm obsessed. I can't wait to watch the rest. What?
We are going to watch the rest of this on our own because I'm really obsessed to see where this goes because, like,
we need to see where this goes, but also we don't need to get, like, removed from the channel, so.
I feel like we're going to get fucking, like,
yeah, we're going to get
for
flagged so hard. So,
we will see you next time on Spirits and Ghost Stories. Bye.
Thanks for joining, Tess. We love you. Bye.